All right, the first thing we're going to see is our simplified of a radical. What we're going to be doing is like 320, I'm going to split it into two numbers. They don't have to be the same number. Just any two numbers that multiply equals 320. Less. My case, let me go 32 times 10. Like I said, they don't have to be the same number. Now, 32, let me split it as 8 times 4. My 8, let me split it as 2 times 4. What I'm trying to do is try to get groups. So two numbers of the same in a group. My 4s, I know I can split my 4s, but like I said, I'm trying to make groups. So that's a group already. I'm going to group them up. Like I said, I can split them, but I'm going to group them up. My 10, I can split it as 2 times 5. So these two with this 2. So the two 2s, it's another group. What I'm trying to show here it is the groups that don't have to be next to each other. But I'm trying to do two numbers per group. My 5, I cannot split it anymore, so that's a single. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply my groups. So I have a group of 4 and I have a group of 2. So 4 times 2 gives me 8. And then inside the radical, I'm going to write the single 5. Right? The number I was not able to split or group up. So groups go outside. Notice I said it in plural, just in case we have more than one group. So groups go outside and singles stay inside. So if you have more than one single, multiply. Groups out and singles in. Kind of like you guys with the movies, right? If you guys have groups, like you guys have friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, somebody, you guys go to the movies outside, right? You guys go to the theaters or something. You guys go outside. Now, for all of you single people, you guys stay home watching Netflix. So groups go out, and a bunch of Netflix makes millions of dollars, right? For a reason. So your groups, you go outside, singles stay in. All right, yeah. All right, guys, let's get back to work. So now looking at question number 2, multiply the groups. The 4 and the 2s. 4 times 2. Now, the 8, I didn't look at the 8 or the 32 or the 10. I did not look at those numbers because I split them. I'm only looking at the numbers I was not able to split. Groups go out, singles stay in. Now, looking at my example 2, there's a 7 on the outside to begin with. So that one I'm going to consider a group to begin with because it's already outside, right? Groups go out, singles stay in. So the 7 is a group to begin. Now looking at 800, I'm going to think of 8 times 100. 100, let me split it as 10 times 10. That's a group already, so I'm going to group them up. The reason why I group them up already, because I could split them as 2 and 5. I will have a group of 2, I will have a group of 5 that have to multiply later and becomes 10. So why split it if you're going to put it back together? Now my 8 on over here, 8, I'm going to split it as 4 times 2 because on the 4, I'm going to get another group of 2s. So I'm going to multiply the groups. I'm going to go 7 times 2, which is 14, times 10, which is 140. And on the inside, 2, right, is the only 2. But once again, if I have more than one single, because I could have a 2 and I could have a 5, I'm not able to group them up, multiply them. So singles go in, groups go out. So 140 radical 2. Whenever we type the answer, we cannot type the radical form, so use parentheses instead of it. So for question number 1, I'm going to do 8 parentheses 5. For question number 2, 140 parentheses 2. Is there space? No spaces, all together.
On 2, what did you multiply with?
On 2, I multiply the groups, the 7, because it was outside, it was a group to begin with. So 7 times 2 times 10.
Okay, wait, so you got 145 multiplying.
7 times 2 times 10.
Can you do like other numbers?
All right. You want me to do another example?
Yeah. No, hold on.
More questions.
All right, Jennifer, what's your question?
Like, you know how you use like 800? Can you do like other numbers
Oh, yeah, definitely. The two numbers that you begin with, I did 8 times 100. The numbers that you begin with, it doesn't matter. Because once you split them, you're going to get the same numbers, your same groups. All right, let's take a look at another example. I'm going to come out with this other example. Let's take a look at question number 2. 360, because ends on the 0, I'm going to choose a 10. I'm going to say 36 times 10. My 36, I'm going to split it as 6 times 6. That's a group already. I know I can split them, but if I split them, I want to get a group of 2 and a group of 3. That once I multiply, it becomes 6 again. So just group them up. The 10 is 2 times 5. The 7 that was outside to begin with was a group. So I'm going to multiply the groups, 7 times 6. And then inside, I'm going to have 10. Because in this case, I have 2 singles. 2 times 5. So groups go out, singles. So it could be more than one. Singles stay in. So 42, radical 10. It's a group when there's 2 of the same number. And as a matter of fact, this idea will help you guys later on in Algebra 2. Because right now we're doing square roots. And in Algebra 2, they're going to tell you there's an imaginary 2 on the outside. That's why I do 2 per group. But then you guys are going to do cube roots when there's a 3 on the outside. So it's going to be 3 per group. And then, you know, so on and so forth. I teach what the front office tells me to teach. But I do have a master's in math, so I can teach any math.
Okay, so
All right. Any questions on these?
you do the 288 one that you did?
The what?
The 288.
The one you skipped.
It was radical 288?
Yeah.
Okay. So 288. All right. I'm going to go as 2 times 144. 144, I'm going to think of it as 12 times 12. I can split my 12s, but it's a group already. So I'm going to call this 12 radical 2.
So when it's a group already, that's the number that goes in out to me.
Yes, groups go out.
And the one that's, oh, okay, I got it.
Got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Now, let's take a look at something like these. Now we're going to talk about the distance formula. The distance between 2 points. Start this kind of like how you guys started your slope in Algebra 1. Remember, your slope was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which that meant is like the second y minus the first y. So my second y is negative 8 minus my first y. And at the bottom, I have the second x minus the first x. So 4 minus 0. So on the top, I have negative 12. At the bottom, I have 4. And then in your slope, when you guys were dealing with this in Algebra 1, you guys had to simplify the fraction, and that was your slope. For distance, do not simplify the fraction. So 12 over 4, do not simplify it. Use those two numbers. I'm going to do the square root of 12 squared plus 4 squared. Right? I'm using those two numbers. Do not simplify. And I know one of the numbers, the 12 in this case, was negative. I'm going to write it as positive because since I square it, it becomes positive anyways. So 12 squared plus 4 squared. I know 12 squared is 144. 4 squared is 16. So I'm thinking 144 plus 16, that's 160. So I'm looking at the square root of 160. Let me call this 16 times 10. My 16 is going to become 4 times 4, which is a group. My 10 is 2 times 5. So my answer should be 4 radical 10. Right? The 4 goes out because it's a group. The singles, in this case 2, multiply them. That's how I got the 10. So groups go out, singles stay in. Yes? Take a look at my example 4. I heard yes. Never mind. All right, let's take a look at question number 4. I'm going to go 0